and welcome back to Reactioncast. It's your host Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, here to give you another movie review. This time around, we're going to be talking about Civil War.
19 states have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens?
We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death.
Flooded.
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this.
So, Civil War is this dystopian film written and directed by Alex Garland, and it's taking a depiction of an alt reality in where the United States is in a civil war, and it's one of these interesting things where it throws the world, like the United States, into these four factions, and it's all viewed through the eyes of these journalists, basically. Let me double check their names really quick. The main cast we're gonna be like that we follow is Lee Smith, played by Christine Dunst, who is a war photojournalist. It's just those people who like take those very like intense shots of war. It's like I've seen documentaries of these individuals. They get into some wild situations, and this film does not like shy from that. And then you get Joel, played by I believe it's Wagner Mora, I think that's, yeah, and he's the journalist. And we get Jessie, played by Kaylee Spanny, I think that's her name. And then Sammy, played by Stephen McKinley Henderson. These are kind of the main four we follow during this venture to DC, because like I said, the United States is in chaos right now, and the president has been being held out in the Capitol, and no one's seen him for 14 months, and Joel wants to get the interview of a lifetime with this. What I like about the film, when talking about Civil War, is that you're getting it from the eyes of these journalists and seeing how not only some of the combat scenes, but some of the everyday life is happening. Because yeah, like war is one of those things that if it's in the background of your country, there's a lot that's happening in this day and age. It is rough to deal with, and seeing it on basically the home country of America, it's like interesting to see. You see it sometimes in different films, but I like what they did with it. I like how also like they never really take a major stance. The characters of Joel and Lee, they are just there to get the story, to get the shot. And there are a lot of times, mostly what I like about like A24 films in recent times is I like how they take a lot of more liberty with these types of stories. And I definitely was on the edge of my seat so many times. There is one like very intense scene in this that is like very pivotal to a couple of character development, and it's wild to see. It is crazy. That's where the plot is. It's just these journalists making their way through the country to get to DC, and kind of just seeing how some points of the country are, taking shots, looking into things, just making their way, and it's crazy to see how some places are taking it and how some people have adapted to the conflict that's happening. And God, sound design, like this is one of the films that I'm so happy that I watched in cinema, because it's also one of the reasons I wish I had a cinema room, because the audio design for this is fantastic. It's like crisp, everything. It's crazy. Like some of the music though didn't sometimes fit some of the scenes, but I can wave that off for a good story, reasonable characters, and a very intriguing story. And yeah, besides that, yeah, overall from point A to point B, I had fun. Definitely some of the slower moving pieces of the film are for some I could see it would be a little bit underwhelming, but I feel the general way they laid out the plot and the pacing works well enough. And it's interesting to see how some of the character development of some of these characters, from where we got them to where they at, turn out. It's a lot to take in with such a just under 2-hour film. So I can see how a few people would be upset with kind of this finale. The finale is way crazy. It's intense. It's like wild. It's you're in it, and it's you're there. But definitely some characters made some decisions that I'm like, interesting. Okay. It kind of it it is what it is. It left me thinking. I'll say that. It left me thinking. But yeah, that's kind of that for the finale. They like just the conclusion of the film. It's not bad. It's just like, so that's how you decide to conclude this movie, or this character's kind of storyline. Like, all right. But besides that, no. It's overall just a general, reasonably well laid out film. I am looking forward to seeing what other A24 films, because yeah, some of the trailers I've watched had my attention, and they have not held back at all when I've seen some of them. So Civil War, I highly recommend if you want to see a very interesting alt story from the eyes of some journalists. This is the movie. It's like good. I like, if you have a chance, see it in cinema. It is so good. You just like listen to it, because it has a heavier tone by hearing it. That's my thoughts. But yeah, so yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Have you watched it? Do you want to watch it? Definitely, it's a little bit more triggering for some people. I'm not gonna lie, with the times we're living in. But I'm glad that there's no real major political major political thought. There's some mixed in, but that can be interpreted by a lot of different people for different reasons. So take it for a grain of salt for what it is. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts on Civil War is. Have you watched it? Do you plan to watch it? So yeah. So thanks again for listening or watching. Until next time, see ya. See ya. See ya. See ya.